Let us execute an immediate sweeping analytical vector shift away from the shadow-drenched, theology-heavy tracking matrices of ancient demonic entities, freezing Georgetown bedrooms and spiritual warfare, and descend straight into the hyper-exclusive, calculation-heavy tracking grids of modern celebrity influencer infrastructure, weaponized high society hospitality networks, and the deeply protective world of corporate public relations assets shielding their perimeter. We are crossing the threshold directly into the hyper-monitored luxury architectural perimeters of an isolated offshore island stronghold, ultra-premium social membership networks, and the lethal analytical parameters of an intensely toxic, reputation-preserving crisis management matrix with the club. The exceptional, pulse-pounding structural deployment anchoring the globally dominant, chart-topping thriller profile by the absolute undisputed sovereign of razor-sharp media world friction, elite influencer vanity, and high-velocity psychological momentum, Ellery Lloyd. This high-stakes narrative tracking sequence delivers an exceptional look at an operational crossroads where a fierce, underestimated corporate management asset running a strict survival loop, a powerful, dangerously territorial hospitality dynasty kingpin, and an absolute defense of a partner's personal sovereignty metrics collide at terminal velocity. Let us map the strategic narrative grid. If you are an elite enthusiast of high-octane, slow-burn psychological thrillers, where an endangered, hyper-observant female protagonist must navigate an absolute maze of corrupt entertainment industry politics, forced offshore proximity schedules, and a deadly ring of active institutional gaslighting, while running a blind survival loop inside a completely compromised ultra-luxury island ecosystem, where an analytical mind uses deep psychological profiling, hidden corporate parameters, and absolute mental stamina to outmaneuver an invisible predatory elite network, and where the author utilizes an incandescent, exclusive celebrity launch party turns into a locked island slasher hunting ground diagnostic routine to test our hero's structural limits, this book is engineered to lock you in. Lloyd completely dominates the toxic privilege meets hidden vengeance dynamic, capturing the heart-racing intellectual momentum, suffocating institutional paranoia, and heavy deductive depth popularized by genre vargs like Lucy Soley, Ruth Ware, Sarah Peers, and B.A. Paris, while treating realistic elite hospitality logistics, complex personal alignment arcs, and protective crisis communication tradecraft grids with absolute technical mastery. The narrative tracking grid zeroes in on the highly volatile, calculation-heavy baseline of our central operative, operating under a severe, calculation-heavy handicap of a crumbling corporate empire, intense international media surveillance protocols, and a hyper-visible targeting profile by the entertainment world's ruling executive capos. Behind her rigorous resort operations footprints and tense guest ledger logs lies an intricate matrix of hidden faction allegiances, deeply buried administrative secrets, and sharp, high-stakes tactical maneuvers. Her collective defense mechanisms are locked down tight behind a lifetime of surviving brutal public relations warfare, her entire analytical focus strictly consumed by monitoring sudden threat vectors from rival brand sycophants, parsing complex behavioral shifts from her powerful, cold-eyed corporate master partner, and shielding her vulnerable personal autonomy nodes from being entirely wiped out by a ruthless elite cleanup offensive. The spark ignites when an unexpected high-frequency structural anomaly breaches her active scanning perimeter. During the massive star-studded 3-day launch phase of the ultimate luxury playground, The Home, a series of suspicious logistical sabotage attempts, targeted safety breaches, and calculation-heavy compound ambushes threatened to permanently eliminate the founders from the living executive registry. The official diagnostic metrics of the global tracking centers flash white-hot when her defensive maneuvers and raw situational output reveal that her hidden analytical trajectory is radically impossibly crossing paths of the shadow entity, executing an absolute execution order on the club's elite board members. The standard boundaries of routine luxury hospitality and peaceful high society networks crumble, and our central protagonist runs completely out of standard diplomatic escape vectors. She is thrust directly into an active, invisible war across the isolated island compound, where deceptive corporate houses, highly manipulative media fixers, and a calculation-heavy underground vengeance syndicate launch aggressive countermeasures to permanently suppress her advancement data stream. The tactical parameters instantly explode as their historical and survival warfare turns completely active, transforming the grand dining pavilions, dark coastal pathways, and private fortified suite chambers into a volatile psychological pressure cooker and a physical battle zone. The dangerous founder asset is purposeful and resolute, determined to deploy his massive intuitive tracking skills, overwhelming primal aura, and persistent analytical dominance to break her perimeter and preserve his brand, only to realize her hidden internal grit matches his own dark nature step for step. Our veteran survivalist protagonist is forced to deploy her massive intuitive tradecraft, environmental mapping skills, and raw physical stamina to maintain her boundary lines before the next competitive cleanup phase permanently deletes her progress. Every midnight archive excavation, every silent choice to stand off against an arrogant celebrity director behind standard security barriers, and every intense moment of channeling raw, unyielding survival mechanics chips away at her reliance on original peaceful rules. What follows is an exceptional, high-stakes war of perspective, tactical position, and raw human grit.
We watch the dark elite's deceptive perimeters completely unwrapped as the author reveals that the true victory requires more than just surviving a resort lockdown or managing a toxic executive partnership. It demands an absolute, uncompromising defense of individual dignity, personal truth, and systemic survival against a cold, calculating machine of institutional hierarchy and high society supremacy. While our central characters smooth over each other's psychological and defensive blind spots with devastating analytical force, creating a fiercely protective, absolute web of dark possessive loyalty around their volatile union, a brutal series of close-quarters tactical confrontations and high-stakes evidentiary breakthroughs shifts the clock into its terminal phase, proving that historical emotional hazards have tracked them to their final outpost. To survive the impending lock-grid trap and permanently secure her sanctuary, our resilient heroine must unleash an absolute, unyielding defense of her final boundary lines. It is a contemporary mystery thriller, locked room island suspense, corporate dynasty drama, high-velocity high-society noir masterpiece that treats deep relational logistics and intense structural friction with elite precision. The tension here burns with a sharp, calculation-heavy intensity. We are talking about that high-frequency, one whispered secret triggers a fatal banquet showdown energy, where a sudden pause during an active brand tactical briefing, an unexpected shift in an adversary's protective physical posture during a high-stakes courtyard confrontation, or a heavy possessive realization that an elite hospitality protector has completely mapped your personal biological coordinates carries massive structural weight. Lloyd writes with an exceptionally fresh, vivid, and beautifully blunt voice, perfectly capturing the cold metallic snap of secure wristbands, the oppressive heavy atmosphere of an elite guest wing before an execution sequence, and the distinct subtle scent of premium leather, expensive ocean breeze cologne, expensive champagne, burning high-tech servers, rain-soaked teakwood, spilled copper, and pure, unadulterated suspense. What truly elevates this installment into elite territory is the author's unmatched ability to balance complex, high-stakes, deep-state celebrity dynamics and genuine dark rom suspense tradecraft, alongside a breathtaking narrative pace and deep emotional hooks. Our protagonists don't rely on unbelievable superficial Hollywood superhero action tropes. Their immense situational intelligence, strategic patience, and profound survival instincts match the complexity of the chaotic modern corporate and high society underworld they dominate step for step, making their choices to risk everything feel profoundly authentic and deeply gripping. The pacing moves with calculated momentum, tracking intense conversational standoffs and breathtaking tactical breakthroughs before ratcheting up to an absolute jaw-dropping conclusion that delivers total hard-earned advancement to their horizon. The Club is the definitive pro-level upgrade your high-stakes modern fantasy and intense asset suspense library demands right now. It is elegant, immensely fast-paced, and utterly unpredictable. It proves that when your entire sanctuary is targeted by a cold, calculating institutional monster, the most revolutionary play you can execute is to loft your perimeters, trust your elite survival training, and fight like hell with your network to rewrite the data. So secure your personal reading sanctuary, review your emotional defensive perimeters, open your Kindle, and prepare to track the throne.